Podcast. This is episode 44 for the week of December 3rd, 2012. I am Dakazu from the forums, and who else is here today?
Darfox8.
Mr. X.
Snake Dude for life.
And Totoro.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to the podcast, Snake Dude.
Yes, it's been a good long while since I've been here, brother.
How many episodes is this? I'm sorry, did you say 45?
44.
44, so it's been 43 episodes since he's been on? Because I think he was just on the first one.
I don't think he was on the first.
He was on the pilot.
The prototype.
The one that was not on the feed.
True.
It's a secret one.
Like that kid daily from the happy hour who I went up the stairs and never went back down.
Can you imagine?
You were on one after that.
Yeah, but that one was the audio quality got messed up, and we couldn't post that one.
Yep.
Do you guys remember, like, what that first episode was like? That prototype? I would be terrified to go back and listen to that.
There's a reason I don't listen to any of them.
I know that there are people that only listen to that one, and because of it, have not listened to any other episode.
We don't need those people.
What do you mean, those people?
We don't need those people. Those listen first and make snap decisions later. We don't need
people
those.
Should go. People should go listen to the Thanksgiving episode because that one was really good.
It was.
I enjoyed it.
You all learned the meaning of Thanksgiving.
And it's food.
So, X, do you want to talk about Dishonored? Because we both got it.
Yeah, and I know Snake Dude has played that game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, funny thing is, remember the day you got it from Amazon? You're like, have you gotten it? I was like, I don't think so, because I'm in Hawaii. I checked later, and it was outside my door, my apartment.
Awesome.
Same day.
I've only played it for, like, Steam says 78 minutes.
Yeah, I played for about that amount. Like, I'm just about leaving this first sewer area. That's where I stopped.
I got Blink. That was the last thing I did.
So you got a little further.
Sounds like it, but not much.
That game is not the best looking game in a lot of ways. I
mean, like, from a technical standpoint, no, but I really like the art style.
Yes.
I think it's alright. It's like, it's no Borderlands.
Well,
like, it doesn't look that good.
Well, it's not the same type of art style as...
Yeah, no.
But I think if you compare anything to Borderlands, you're gonna side with Borderlands.
Well, isn't it Dishonored cell shading?
No.
No. It's supposed to be realistic surrealism, I believe. It's supposed to
The
be...
faces aren't super realistic, but it's not like cartoonish.
Yeah.
It reminds me of kind of like Fable a little bit.
The art style?
Like the people's faces and stuff like. By the way, the girl that you meet at the very beginning, her face looks kind of jank.
Yeah.
In general, the faces look kind of messed up, not as good.
I don't know. I like the environments, though, because the environments they were designed by the same guy who did the
Half-Life.
Yeah, Half-Life 2.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's the same guy.
Yep. You can see
City 17.
Yep.
Because you can see the inspiration, because they got all those kind of like dark-looking metallic walls everywhere. They got the sentries that have no like visual cockpit that you can look into. It just kind of looks eerie and oppressive looking.
I've only played an hour of it, but like I feel like it's closest to BioShock. Like a lot of people said it was.
No.
You don't think so?
At least not from what I played. I mean, I went through a part and I was just killing everything, and then I thought to myself, aren't you supposed to be able to get through this without killing anyone? And then I looked at what I did and what I could have done, and I could have easily stealthed my way through. So I would say the game is more like Deus Ex, at least right now.
Well,
but I just got my first powers, though, so who knows how that will change things.
Well, the way I've been playing it is mostly stealthy, but I've a few people here and there, and I've played to the end, so I kind of know what happens at the end if you play like that. But yeah, the way I see it more like it plays like BioShock, but it has the consequences and it has like some RPG quality to it, similar to that of the Deus Ex games.
I was just saying it was like BioShock because it's a first-person, more story-driven game. It's darker, and you get powers. So
you also have a health bar.
Yes, you do.
But it doesn't regenerate, so it's not like
and a mana bar.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the rats. I want to unleash rats on people. Because the rats, they're kind of all over the place in this game.
Did any of you guys ever play the Thief series?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of comparisons to that.
I've always wanted to because a lot of people say, mostly PC gamers, but a lot of people say like, oh, I don't like Metal Gear games. I like Thief games. So I've always wanted to like learn about the enemy and play the game, so I could defend Metal Gear better. But I never got around to play them. But I've heard similar comparisons to this game.
Yeah, I've never played Thief, so I can't really comment, but I have heard comparisons to it. I really want to see how it opens up, though, when you get more abilities, because I've seen videos of this game, and it looks ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I've played to the end, and it gets really crazy at the end, because the enemy types kind of... They are almost acting really against you. Like, it's kind of bizarre how specific certain enemies are at the end, where it's like, you will not be able to do this and this because these enemies are on the field, so you can't do this and that. So it's kind of, it's a challenge, really.
It's kind of like a puzzle. You gotta prioritize who you gotta kill first.
Yeah. Have any of you have seen the Toll Boys yet?
No.
Oh,
like
boy.
I said, I just got Blink.
That's like the stalker walking thing, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
I think I may have seen them in the little dream sequence that I was in. But they didn't move, they were just standing there because it was a little dream sequence.
Yeah, well, just a little tip for you. You can insta-kill those Toll Boys. I'm not going to tell you how, but there's a way, and it's really, really cool.
Good to know.
Hey, X, you're going through this as you're killing people, right? I'm trying to go through this like super stealthy, and so far I haven't killed anyone yet.
Have you just been knocking them out, or have you been like crawling on like pipes and sneaking around them?
Usually what I like to do is I like to knock them out, because if you just kind of like sneak past them, sometimes like if you like aren't paying attention, the guys that you pass, like they'll catch you from behind. So I always knock them out.
Right. Did you get the crossbow yet?
I just got the crossbow.
The crossbow is pretty good. It's got sleep darts.
Are you playing with a controller or are you playing with a keyboard?
Controller.
Mouse and keyboard controls are weird.
Really?
Yeah. I played the whole game with mouse and keyboard, and towards the end it gets kind of awkward.
Yeah, Snake Dude, you know what I'm talking about. Like, use left click to use your knife, but your knife is in your right hand.
Yeah.
It's on the right side of the screen, and then you use your right click to fire what's in your left hand. It's confusing.
It's kind of the same dual wielding system that's in Skyrim, where you're right clicking to use your left hand and right hand clicking to... It's confusing to someone. It's because it doesn't match.
Well, but it sounds like you're left clicking to use your main hand and you're right clicking to use your off. So I mean, you will tend to left click to use your primary and right click to use your secondary.
I may not just be used to it, yeah, but I kept firing my gun by accident because I'm right clicking. I'm like, my knife is on the right side. Whoops. Reload.
Yeah, I would look at it the way Totoro said, where it's like primary and secondary, like it would be with other games, because what's in your left hand is really just your secondary stuff.
All right, but also left control is what I have to hold down to like knock guys unconscious. It's a little awkward. I think I'll remap that.
Yeah, you mean where to go into stealth?
No. To crouch, C is for crouch, right? So that's fine, and then like left shift is to run. But
right.
Left control is the button you have to hold down to, like when you're sneaking up behind a guy, you get the little pop up at the bottom that says hold left control to knock a guy out.
Yeah, I had to change that to one of the buttons on my mouse, so I can actually press it, because it was kind of hard for my hand to, like, if I was running towards someone, I would have to hold control and then I would have to hold. It's awkward, so I just put it to one of my mouse buttons on my mouse.
I think I just need to get another controller again.
Maybe.
Don't break this one.
Yeah, I want to talk more about Dishonored, but I gotta play more, so that's the problem.
Yeah. Have you gotten any more powers other than Blink? Because there are really cool powers in the game.
No, I mean, I'm only 78 minutes in.
Yikes. You do at least get the heart.
Yes.
Ah, good. Because use that heart all the time, because it tells you things that are interesting. It adds
We're spoiling things for Dakazu.
Well,
spoilers, you get a heart.
Well, you already have a heart, you just gained an extra one.
Well, but the same thing happens in the Wizard of Oz.
Well, in the Wizard of Oz, you don't carry it around. It doesn't talk to you.
Well,
or at least I don't think that happens.
Well, that happens at the end. Spoilers for the Wizard of Oz. That happens at the end.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Man, you just spoiled Dishonored because at the end you click your
heels together.
spring heeled boots together to wish that girl back to life. Spoilers. Not really. I was just kidding around.
Yeah, I have. I mean, the only thing I really know this is from what from what you guys have said here, and then also the trailers. So
There's not much in the trailers. In fact, I think there's a scene that's in the trailer that's not in the final game.
I wonder if that's going to be DLC.
They have announced DLC, the Dunwall Challenge Trials things.
Well, I think that's out, but then I think there's also just story-driven DLC that's coming out too.
I see. This kind of goes back to the whole, what's acceptable for DLC. If you're showing stuff in a trailer for a game that isn't in the game, and it turns out to be DLC later, that irks me a little bit.
Yeah,
but I don't want to get into that too much.
I would like. You guys need to be further so I can talk about the whales and the lore about this whole whale oil economy that they got. See, yes, you guys get further. So
well, in the intro of the game, you see a whale on a ship.
Yeah, well, it's a whale, but it's got spoilers.
Stop talking about this.
Well, I know that whale oil is used for everything. It seems whale oil.
Ambergris.
I don't think that's a spoiler. I don't know. We should move on.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
I like Super Mario World.
Oh wait, they're talking about religion or holy wars or anything.
Do you want to have a discussion about Mario? Because I could tell you what the best Mario game is.
Mario's missing?
No, it's Mario 3.
What about Mario Hotel? Or Hotel Mario?
I like World as well.
Really?
World.
Yeah, World is best.
Well, it's the one I played the most. Because I did have 3, but I was younger. And when I got to Mario World, I was a little bit older, so I had more of my cognitive brain working on it and kind of just liking it more.
World is like 3, but an improved version.
Yeah,
I think
like
the problem with World is when I first started playing it, I was over at a friend's house and they had already unlocked Star Road, and he's like, check this out, and showed me where that super shortcut is. So once you take the Star Road, then it's like, oh, we just beat the game, super easy. That was fast.
So you're saying 3 is better because a friend beat the game for you? Beat World for you?
It might have colored my opinion a little bit, but in general, I think 3 is better.
I think you guys are wrong.
3 doesn't have a special world where it says you are a super player when you run across the screen.
Also, the cape is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Why? Because
Also
you can
Yoshi.
dive bomb?
You can fly.
Was that the game that had a big shoe as a power up?
That was 3.
That was 3.
That was Karibo Shoe.
That's why 3 is good. It's got the shoe.
Doesn't have the cape.
But you can fly with the raccoon tail.
Cape is cooler.
You could turn into
Better
Hammer
graphics.
Brothers. Ugh. Semantics.
This world also has the twirly jump. I think you use it with the A button.
Yep.
So
Sounds
you
right.
can jump on things with things you normally couldn't jump on, but he just pops off them.
Darfox, you talking about the twirly jump reminds me of that YouTube clip you sent me. Of those custom Super Mario World
yes,
levels. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, actually, I don't know the origin of this. I assume it's some sort of emulator in Japan that they have some sort of Super Mario World level editor, and it's I think it's Kaizo Mario or Asshole Mario, and it's basically someone used the level editor to create the most ridiculous Super Mario World levels. The whole level is basically made of spikes, and you can only travel across the level by jumping on certain enemies in certain ways, and it's really ridiculous. It's like pro Mario. it's really funny.
I thought Pro Mario was the lost levels of Super Mario 2. No, never mind.
Yeah, or Super Meat Boy. Is Super Meat Boy supposed to be a hardcore Mario, right? And it's somewhat similar to that. Later on in Super Meat Boy, there's a bunch of crazy levels where it seems like it's impossible to travel through. That's how Kaizo Mario is, and there's also weird music videos made with this level editor, because when you jump on certain things, it makes certain musical notes. So people have made like these obstacle courses where you're supposed to jump on certain things and you make a song. I think I'll try to link it in the Metaverse thread so people know what I'm talking about. But it's crazy.
It sounds crazy.
You can
Also-
see the clips on YouTube. Like Starfox showed me one. They look hella hard.
Yeah. Also, did you guys know that both Mario 3 and Super Mario World have like a wall jump, but it's like it's not an intended mechanic. It's like a glitch where if you hit the wall at a certain like angle, not angle, but like basically between pixels, for like a split second, Mario lands and then you could jump again. So it looks like you're doing a wall jump. It's really weird. Some speedrunners do. That's why I've seen it, because some speedrunners know how to do it, and they basically climb up walls without having anything. Mario's cool. In case you didn't know.
Sounds a bit like Mario Parkour or something.
Kaizo Mario looks sometimes like parkour. It's like super pro athlete going through this crazy gauntlet.
I wonder if Mario would do parkour if Daniel Craig was chasing him.
Like is Daniel Craig like dangerous?
I don't know. Daniel Craig was like, "Hey, you," and then Mario's like, "Huh? Oh, what?" And then they start running through like some weird obstacle course. There's bullet bills everywhere.
Are you guys familiar with Super Mario's Wacky World?
Is that
I feel like I'm
No.
looking at it right now.
It was a Mario game that was canceled, but it was for the CDI.
Why?
It was supposed to
Why would
be
you bring-
pretty awesome.
What? Are you being serious?
Yeah, it was like a
Or you mean
sequel.
like awesome? Like
No, it was
God,
like a
awesome.
sequel to Super Mario World.
What was it called?
Mario's Wacky World. And if you have a CDI, there's ways to play it.
Ways.
Ways.
We had a CDI.
It was
Why?
never released.
It's it's never released, but it's like the prototype floating around somewhere on the interwebs.
It looks like there's some playthroughs on YouTube. Looks like there's a ROM hack too.
I know
I was gonna say,
someone
if
that
anyone-
has it.
I was gonna say, if anyone, like, if you're ever gonna ask anyone about that and figure out like any way to get that, like Frank Cifaldi would be your man. He's all into that CD underworld of game prototypes and stuff. Although it's a lot easier with games that were released on like CD and disc
Yeah.
as opposed to like carts.
This video is interesting because it looks a lot like Super Mario World, and I thought it was gonna look super ghetto like the Zelda games on those CDI things.
Yeah, like Wanda Gamelon and what is it, Zelda's Adventure, and I can't remember the other one.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other one.
Yeah, those games look almost nothing like the ones you see on Nintendo.
Yeah, but this is like a legit Mario game.
It looks like it. Actually looks pretty cool.
It was legit, but then it quit.
It did because it was on the CDI, and then nobody bought that thing except Totoro.
No, I was not the person who bought that in my household.
Someone in the Totoro household bought a CDI.
Yeah, it was Papa Totoro.
Now, here's a question. If they developed this game for the CDI and it didn't work out, how come they didn't just port it over to their home console?
Because I don't think it was being made by Nintendo.
Huh.
Also, Nintendo's weird. They've completed games. I've not released them.
Yeah, like
Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
and the Earthbound or Mother 2 or 3, the one that was
Well-
finished for the NES for the US, but they just never put it out.
Earthbound 0. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh, Mother, yeah.
never came out.
Well, and Final Fantasy 2, like Japanese Final Fantasy 2.
You don't want to play
Was-
But
that.
that's Square, not Nintendo.
No, but Nintendo published it in America.
You really don't want to play that.
It's not that bad.
I forgot who that guy is in charge of like that Final Fantasy, and he went on to do the Saga. series.
Yeah.
That guy is whack.
Is it? No, not Kawazu. Is it Kawazu?
I don't know. Whoever that guy is, he's got a screw loose.
Is that your professional opinion?
I'm gonna get. My brother's gonna kick my ass. It was Hiromichi Tanaka, Akitoshi Kawazu, and Koichi Ishii.
Yeah, those guys.
Those guys who damn near killed. I didn't think Final Fantasy 2 was that bad. It's not that good, but it's not that bad.
You know, I'm surprised you got a CDI, Totoro.
It was a family. It was like my dad is kind of a technology junkie and has been for years. It's like when we got our PlayStation, it was like because Dad thought it was cool and wanted to see it.
Did
So-
he also get a Jaguar and Jaguar CD?
That was UX. That was
That
you.
was yeah.
I think everyone has made like a purchase of like some kind of system that like did not last.
Well, except for me, because I was born late.
The Jaguar lasted long enough.
Dark Fox, have you ever bought like a console system or whatever that did not last?
No, I've only owned Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and only the winners.
You had a 360 also at one point.
Yeah.
I bet you guys pre-ordered the Phantom.
You mean the lap board?
Yes.
I had a Neo Geo Pocket.
That
was a
games.
poor decision. It had games and there were good games, but like not like barely 6 months after it came out in the States, like they were like, "Hey, we're no longer supporting it." It's like, fuck.
Of course. Yeah, I always like Neo Geo. That was like always the thing that was like I think that everyone wanted. Like I remember all the like me and all my friends we all wanted that because it was like something that nobody had.
And it was super expensive
for us. And it was super expensive. But yeah, there was this kid who always like said that he had like a 3DO or something, and I like never believed him.
You old people talking just reminded me that my babysitter, when I was like young, had a Sega handheld.
Nomad?
What was it? Not the Nomad.
The Game
Gear.
The Game Gear.
Yes, I remember my babysitter had one of those, and I remember trying to play with it, but because she had like the one Jurassic Park game, and I loved Jurassic Park when I was a kid. And I was trying to play with it, but the battery would run out after like an hour, so I had to stay close to an outlet and play it with it plugged in. And I was like, Yikes.
Yeah, the thing about the Game Gear was that it was really easy for them to take Master System games and just port them over. Like, I don't even think they had to do much of anything.
I had Mortal Kombat for the Game Gear.
I didn't have a Game Gear. My brother and I, we had the Lynx.
Really?
Oh, God.
Did you have the original Lynx that weighed like 50 pounds and was the size of a laptop?
Those things were huge. Yeah, those things were huge. And, yeah, it was okay.
It was cool that you could play it left or right-handed.
That was cool. Well, and I think there were certain games where you could, like, play two-player, like, back and forth with it. Like, you would be facing the other person. But I could be wrong on that, but I remember something like that. Yeah, good times. I may have to... Yeah, no, not good times.
I think I played my Jaguar more than I played my Wii.
Different times in your life.
True.
I was hoping to get through one episode where we didn't like put the Wii down, but
that one was,
I guess
that one was for
it
Higgins.
Will never happen.
That was for Higgins.
It will never happen.
Although, talk about the Wii. Let's not talk about the Wii or the Wii U. Let's talk about their latest, what I consider a disaster. The Wii U. The
Mini.
The U. Yes, the Winnie. The
Winnie.
The Winnie Cooper.
Yeah. Good name for it, actually.
The Winnie. I mean, it's just kind of difficult for me to believe that they would release the Wii U. God damn it, the
Wii.
U, the Winnie and the Wii
Winnie.
U at the same time. When it's very likely that there's a grandma out there somewhere who bought the Winnie thinking it was a Wii U, and she's gonna give it to her grandkids, and their kids are gonna be like, "Oh, you got us a Wii U. Wait, what is this? Is a U? This is a Winnie, Ma." And grandma's like, "Well, yeah, it's the new one. Yeah, but it's not you." And then sad Christmas.
I think that's only being released in Canada. I could be wrong though.
Well, but it's $100 Canadian. That's cheap.
Yeah.
That's the magic number for them to start selling a bunch of them again. Like, I don't care what you think of the software, they will sell them. They'll sell like another 5 or 10 million units just based on that price.
It doesn't have GameCube backwards compatibility though.
Okay.
I don't think it's aimed.
Still. So yeah, but that's I think that happens like historically, like the first console that gets down to like that $100 mark just starts selling like gangbusters.
Well, hasn't the Wii been like 150 for a while? I could be wrong about that.
I'm not 100% sure.
So I think we should move on. I saw a movie.
No other game talk.
Well, the only thing I've played is Assassin's Creed 3. I guess I could mention a little bit about that and how it's been a disaster.
What?
Yesterday, in the morning, I got up, I tried to play some Assassin's Creed 3, and I couldn't.
What happened?
Uplay said that I didn't have the game.
Bullshit.
Oh shit!
And then it said type in your product key, and then I did, even though I already did. It said this has already been used. I mean, Big E was having the same problem, and it did eventually just come back on its own. But I sent them a tweet and stuff, and they were just like, "You should look at the customer service stuff."
That doesn't help.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to play that game until sometime in the afternoon when it magically came back.
See, this is just exactly what people are always worried about with like this extra DRM. I mean, because you legitimately bought the game, and you know the people who have broken DRM are able to play it, but you, a legitimate paying customer, was without the game for for however long.
Yeah, and the thing is, they got rid of their always on DRM, but the Uplay thing pretty much acts exactly the same as it did. Because if the servers go down, you can't play. Although there is an offline mode, so I guess technically you could. And so I did that. I put it to offline, and that's when my game disappeared.
Go figure.
But yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, I'd be pretty cheesed off.
I was not happy at all. I don't think Biggie was too excited about it.
He had
either.
the same problem? Oh shit.
Well, no, never mind. That was... yeah, I was going to say, Roncy was having an issue with his Borderlands 2 save, and he turned the cloud off.
Yeah, and then his hard drive just died. Yeah, he lost his character.
It was like, the type of comedy of errors that went on there was like, it's everything that you think. It's like why you don't do things, and then you do it and thinking, oh, this will never happen anyway, and then it does.
But if he turned the cloud save, I mean, shouldn't the cloud save still be out there from the last time it saved?
Level 17.
When did
he was at 50?
That's when he turned it off when he was 17?
Yep.
That is why
I no longer have someone to play like the level 50 DLC with anymore.
That's why you don't turn off cloud save.
It was messing with his game, like it was glitching out and like reverting his save back to like a cloud save. He was losing progress.
Sounds like it could have been his hard drive. His hard drive died.
Yeah, probably was.
Probably.
But I saw the Raid Redemption. Moving on to something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
That is a movie.
That's a pretty violent movie.
Super violent.
How similar did you see a big similarity between that and the new Dread movie that came out? Because people were making that comparison.
Other than them having the exact same plot, they are nothing alike.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen the trailer for Dread, and I'm like, that's the exact same plot for the Raid.
It is. It's exactly the same. The execution is a lot different because in Dread, it's all about guns, and in the Raid, it's all hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. Or like 99% hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
There are some people getting shot.
Yeah, but a lot of times the shooting is up close. It's like part of the hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that minor spoilers for Dread and the Raid. The concept of it is that these cops go into this building full of gangsters, and it's ruled by one like super powerful mafioso guy who's like in charge of it, and he has like a penthouse on top of this apartment building. And what happens is that these cops get locked in, and then the guy goes over to the speaker and says, "We got uninvited visitors. Anybody who like kills these cops gets free rent for a month or something like that." I forget what he offers them. But so suddenly these cops are trapped inside, and it's imagine like being trapped inside a prison where like all the inmates are out or something.
Yeah, like in a prison riot, and the main character be like a guard or something.
Wait, are you saying that this movie, The Raid, was ripped off?
No.
Dread?
Maybe no, it wasn't ripped off. I think it's entirely possible because that idea is pretty simple. I don't think it's impossible to have two people that have the same exact idea.
Dread may have been based on a book, that storyline.
Exactly. There might have been like an older story comic book about that very thing.
But the Raid did come out before Dread.
The movie, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But Dread is on a much bigger scale, too, because the building in that is like a city block or something. It has like hundreds of thousands of people in it. So there's that.
I haven't seen that.
Dread is really good.
I'd like to see that.
I don't know what I would say.
I really want to
I don't
see
know
it.
what movie I would say is better between that and The Raid, because The Raid is really good.
Where did you see? Was this on DVD or
Blu-ray?
Blu-ray.
But the soundtrack is kind of weird. because it's by Linkin Park or a guy from Linkin Park, but that's only the dub version. So if you turn that off, you can either have dubbed or original Indonesian language, and then that puts back in the sound effects where they're supposed to be instead of awful dub sound effects, which is weird.
That's weird. That's okay. I didn't realize that this was a foreign movie.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like Indonesian or something.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailers on television when it was coming out on theaters, and I remember watching the trailer and remembering that no one in the trailer actually talked. They did that thing where if a foreign movie comes out here, they have a trailer with a lot of action, but none of the actors talk, so you don't actually get the idea that this is a foreign film and they don't speak English natively.
So kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden... I remember when Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out, and that was like, I don't think any of the previews they showed on television displayed any sort of,
Dialogue.
But
No,
the
they do.
thing that makes this movie so good, though, is the fighting and how visceral it is.
Yeah, extremely visceral.
So did you pick this up from, did you actually buy this, or did you get...
Black Friday.
Was that on like one of the Amazon? Okay, yeah.
I think I got it for like $10 or something. It was like half off.
And you feel like it's worth it? I
think this is in my top 3 for movies of the year.
Wow, that good?
I really liked it.
That sounds pretty good. Like, what would be out of it?
I think we might be talking about that on another podcast.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, spoilers.
Probably Cabin in the Woods, maybe. Who knows?
Oh boy.
So another cool thing about the raid is that the people in the building are, for the most part, like super vicious, but also the cops are pretty badass.
Yeah, the cops just murder people. They're not interested in arresting anyone.
Yeah, and there was a cool scene early on where basically they're like, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but they're probably like in the 10th floor out of 20. Basically, they're like halfway through, and that's where the shit hits the fan, right? So then they say, okay, how the hell do we get back down to the first floor and escape? So some guy gets an axe and he just starts working his way down the floors just by breaking the floor. I'm like, that's badass. This guy doesn't give a fuck. He's just gonna get out of here any way he can.
Yeah, he's like, give me the axe. And then he gets down there and then he puts the axe into someone.
Yeah.
But the fights are so good. Like, there was that scene right after all that, and two of the guys climb back up the hole, and then they're in the hallway, and he's fighting with his baton and a knife.
Oh yeah, all of like CQC style, like a military looking like a combat mixed with like martial arts. Looks super awesome.
It's really unique, and the way but there was one thing that bugged me. It's like after that, he, in the process of fighting like 50 guys at once or whatever, he drops his weapons or leaves the knife stuck in someone or something, and then his partner that's with him drops the knife and he just says, "Just leave it, let's go." Instead of just picking up the knife, and then he walks back out later, walking over all these weapons, and doesn't pick anything up. He's just walking around, no weapons, in a building full of people that want to kill him.
Yeah, I think there's kind of some like action movie logic that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't.
But in general, pretty cool.
Grabbing the loot.
I did think I got slightly numb about with all the action towards the end, because the movie's kind of non-stop action. There's only like a few lows, but they bring it back with some of like the dramatic stuff that happens with the plot at the end.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you guys care if we spoil a little thing that happens at the end?
I do. Like you got me like excited to see this movie.
Well, I mean, it was. Well,
yeah.
I guess. Okay, I won't say.
Yeah,
it.
Yeah. Watch the movies.
It's a really good movie.
Now, speaking of movies, I saw Wreck-It Ralph last Sunday.
Ooh, Wreck-It Ralph.
It was really good. I won't say much because it's been said on like every other podcast, but yeah, really good. I did not. Sarah Silverman's like little girl character was annoying, but she was meant to be annoying. But
I don't have a problem with Sarah Silverman like a lot of people do.
No, I don't either.
Neither do I.
She just kind of, but she was alright in this movie. She was cast well, and the interesting thing about the movie, like a lot of people say, is it's actually not that focused on comedy. It's actually more just like heartfelt, like family movie.
Is it like?
I'm surprised how touching it was in a lot of scenes.
Is there like a lot of action in it? If it's not comedy or anything, or is it just like drama?
It's like a good mix of like some action-y, like entertaining stuff and like that. I think the biggest shock was like they spent like the majority of the time in this Candyland world called Sugar Rush. That's the game with the Sarah Silverman's like little girl character, and it's the Mario Kart ripoff.
You think they could have got
And
Mario
it's really,
since there's Nintendo characters in there?
I think they just wanted to make their they want to make their own like stuff, just so they can mess with it as much as possible. But the interesting thing is at the end of like when the credits are rolling, they have a Sugar Rush song, and it's sung by AKB48. I don't know if you guys know that, but they're like a huge like idol group
I don't.
from
No
Japan.
idea
Like Darfox knows.
what you're talking about right now.
It's
that
the one
English?
it's a Japanese like pop band that has like 48 members, and they're all like high school girls.
It's actually more than 48. It's like 90 members.
It's basically like an agency of an idol agency or something, where
Yeah,
they all perform.
It was an idol group, like kind of like a girl version of a boy band, like a girl group that was formed on the basis that every day in this theater, I think it's in Akihabara, but they have a performance, and so like they have rotating groups that like perform like all day long, and like people buy tickets and go see them perform live concerts every day. And because they have multiple groups, they can just rotate groups and have different gigs like every day at different locations and venues and stuff. They're very popular and very big, and they always have rotating casts, and like people like graduate out of the group when they get older, and they always have auditions for new kids. It's like a big phenomenon in Japan. But anyway, they sing the Sugar Rush song, and I was looking into it a little bit. In Japan, they're not gonna call Wreck-It Ralph Wreck-It Ralph. They're calling it Sugar Rush, which I thought was really weird.
That is kind of odd.
Huh.
Because
And I bet
the
the
movie
song is like a single that's like in the charts.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but like just the fact calling the movie Sugar Rush, based on like the that game, when like the main character is Wreck-It Ralph, it's just
It
weird.
is a little weird.
It's marketing. Its marketing is stupid and weird.
Corporate synergy.
Shifting
Actually-
paradigms.
You said Wreck-It Ralph, and it reminded me that I saw Brave relatively
Yeah, me
recently.
too. I saw it like 2 days ago.
And I don't like it that much. I think it's okay for a Pixar movie. It is fun, and I
I
would
would say
recommend
it's
it.
one of the worst Pixar movies I've seen.
I thought
Yeah, I didn't like it that much.
it wasn't Pixar. I thought it was
No, it's Pixar.
like,
Brave is
really?
Pixar proper. Wreck-It Ralph isn't proper Pixar, but it's like produced by Lasseter guy,
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, Brave is 100%
Yeah.
Pixar.
and it was a big
I
disappointment.
mean,
for me.
it wasn't as fun as other Pixar movies, and it also like wasn't as cool.
So, would you say that it's? So you say it's the worst one you've seen? You put that below even like
I haven't
Cars
seen
and
Cars
2?
or Cars 2.
I've seen both Cars, and I think this is better than that. But honestly, Cars 1 had a lot of laughs for me. I thought the movie was generally kind of funny, even though it was very kiddie. This movie didn't
Yeah,
have that much laughs.
Yeah, for me, it's like you stick Larry the Cable Guy in something, and it's like, okay, I'm done.
You want to avoid it.
It's Brave, like the main character is just a jerk.
Well, the thing is that when I saw the trailer, the teaser trailer, I didn't really watch much other trailers about it. I thought it was going to be like this girl on an
Yeah, that's what I
adventure.
thought too.
And it was going to be like very Miyazaki-esque, like not Spirited
Princess
Away.
Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke. Prince Ashitaka going across the land, seeing all this crazy stuff. I thought it was going to be like that. With some comedy and some kid stuff, but kind of like a grand sweeping adventure. But it was kind of like I'm trying to think of the genre. It was spoiler alerts. Honestly, it's not that big a deal. The main plot of the movie is that her mom gets turned into a bear, and she has to hide the bear and live with the fact that her mom's a bear now.
Well,
What?
It's like a
Well,
sitcom.
she goes to a witch and gets a spell and turns her mom into a bear because she doesn't want to get married.
Yeah, it's a. Yeah.
Like the main plot is her like hiding the bear from her dad, who's running around and says, "There's a bear in here. I want to kill
Yeah,
the bear."
because
And it's
her
just
dad
like,
is the bear slayer or something.
yeah, like his
What?
whole reputation is about him slaying bears because he's like a Viking
That
warrior,
is
right?
hilarious because based on the trailers, you would never, ever
No,
think
that
that.
sounds like no. Yeah, that's. I'm. It's no. Yeah, that's
Those
Like
trailers
what?
are really
really
deceiving.
wow.
It's a huge disappointment. Like I thought it was
Deceptive
like, some cool
trailers.
ass
Yeah, I
movie.
was expecting like this big adventure, and no, not at all.
Yeah, no.
Do you think that's a case where instead of trailers, like they were trying to be really coy and like high plots and trailers, but it kind of backfired? People had this expectation of the adventure, but it turned into a
I
sitcom
think that if
instead.
they would have showed it for what it was, nobody would have went and saw it. 'Cause it's not like a sitcom. It's more serious. It's not really funny or anything like that.
Was this director's first,
That sucks.
or this writer director's first go with
I believe so.
Pixar?
But I believe they've also made other movies,
Okay.
animated movies.
Like the emotional core is fine. It's about like the honoring tradition, but also walking your own path. That stuff is fine, but just the way it's told is not interesting.
As far as animated movies about Scottish characters, I would say How to Train Your Dragon is way better. That
I
movie
still haven't
is
seen
great.
it, and I want to see it now.
I wish to bring up something that I don't think anyone will touch upon, but I have been playing Mass Effect 3's newest DLC, Omega, which is it's $15, and I feel it's about $5 too much.
You should be careful not to spoil anything about Mass Effect 3 because I believe there's 2 people on here that still want to play that.
I will.
Yeah, I have not played. I have not even put it in the 360 yet.
Well, I can. Let me talk about the DLC. I'm not going to talk about the storyline at all in Mass Effect 3 because it is completely separate from the main story. So it's Mass Effect 3's Omega DLC is within its own kind of part of the universe that is going on, but it's not part of the main storyline. So it also doesn't affect the ending. So it ties in itself inside a knot.
Okay, I'll go ahead and talk about it, but I'm going to warn you ahead of time that if you spoil anything, that when this episode comes out, you're going to sound like a chipmunk.
Okay. There's nothing. If I'm not going to spoil anything that you haven't already seen in like the trailer for this DLC. Like most.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So in the DLC, you help Arya take back Omega. It's something that was hinted at in the original game after you help her. And it's like, you meet her in the club, and it's like, you help her with some side mission, and then she says, like, I'm going to take Omega back, and then she just sits on the couch, and people who played the game the first time were like, so do we help you take it back, or what? And, well, we got our answer. It's $15 DLC. It's not, despite what the developers said, it's not 7 hours. It's actually more like 3 to 4 hours worth of gameplay. I have played through it multiple times so far. I played with like a good guy character who's at 60, and I played with a renegade character who's at 20. So I have played through it enough times to tell you it's about 3 to 4 hours. It's not 7 or 8 hours like the developer said. So it's also kind of not worth $15. I feel like it's more like a $10 DLC. You don't bring any of your squad mates in because apparently Arya has some kind of problem with them, whoever they are. So you have Arya as a teammate, and you have another character that you meet up pretty soon after you start the DLC as a secondary, as your kind of third banana in your group. You also get some new powers that I'm not going to say what they are, but you get some new powers. You get some new toys to play with, some new guns. Some mods too. You also fight some new enemies. If you've been playing multiplayer, now I don't know there's no spoilers for multiplayer, so I'm just gonna say it. There are no Dragoons in this DLC. The Dragoons are the newer multiplayer characters that you fight against. They're the Cerberus armored units that play a lot like the Cerberus Effector class. They are not in the DLC, which I thought was kind of weird, how they have that multiplayer character, but they don't have it in the single player. Instead, they have the Rampart mechs and some other classes that I'm not gonna spoil, but just some new enemies for you to fight that are not in the multiplayer. So there's that.
So is it worth it if you just into multiplayer?
Old multiplayer DLC is free, so the Dragoons. In the multiplayer, you have the Geth Bombers, the Dragoons, and in the multiplayer, in the past, they've done this already with the Retaliation DLC that is free. You get to fight the Collectors again, which is awesome. But they are also not in this DLC because I'm not spoiling anything by telling you what's not in the game in this DLC, but there is no Collectors in this DLC. They do not show up suddenly at some point, so there's to end that speculation. You are just fighting Cerberus and something else in this DLC. Also, there's fewer choices. The DLC really ends one of two ways, and it
Did you just say you fight? Oh fuck!
what?
He's talking about in the multiplayer.
Did you just say you fight Cerberus?
For Omega?
In the multiplayer?
That was established already in the comics, and Arya talks to you about it. How Cerberus takes away Omega from Arya. It was already established.
This is in reference to that thing in the first game.
It's part of like the world. It's a part of the universe.
It's something that's already happened. In fact, there was a comic that was released before the game was released.
I haven't read no comic.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Comic books.
Okay. It was a short
All
comic.
right. Sorry. Continue.
That's all. You get some weapon mods that were already available in the multiplayer, but now you get them in the single player if you want them. But you can buy them. This DLC also gives you like access to a weapon that was a pre-order weapon, the Valkyrie rifle, and the Chakram launcher, which was only available if you played the Reckoning Amalur, whatever that game is, the demo for a while. So you got that too. So DLC, it's okay. The story is all right. I wouldn't say it's not. This DLC is not Lair of the Shadow Broker. This is not that. This is closer to like a rival storyline than Shadow Broker. I give it a 3 ball pythons out of 17.
Snake Dude says meh.
I think Snake Dude also subscribes to the Geekbox game reviews, game ratings.
Probably.
You know, it's completely random.
And arbitrary.
That is what I was implying.
I love arbitrary wabbits.
I saw the movie Safe House.
What was
It's
that?
a movie with Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds. It was okay. Don't need to talk about it. It's okay. You should watch it.
Wait, you don't want to talk about it, but we should watch it
sure.
anyway?
I mean, it's nothing special. It's just a movie about a guy.
It sounds like a thriller action movie.
Yeah, it's just run-of-the-mill movie. You pretty much know what's going to happen from the beginning. Super predictable. I mean, we can move on.
I think we should just move on to Moviebox at this
To
point
a
then.
Trollhunter?
To Trollhunter, yes.
Trollhunter.
This was Snake Dude's pick. Does this movie have some kind of cult following or something?
A little bit, yes.
It's
I read the
understandable.
Wikipedia article briefly, and it had good reviews in Norway, and it had good reviews here.
But
So I think people generally like it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
about this movie, I thought it was a really great film when I first watched it on Netflix, because I was just like, I heard about this film a while ago, and I didn't really get a chance to see it, and then I got Netflix and I saw it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to sit down and watch this. And to me, it's one of the better found footage movies that I have seen. Compared to most recent ones where they just kind of they do the found footage thing, but then they also do they break from the verisimilitude of the characters that just bothers me. But this one plays it straight with the students from I believe they were students from some university, some journalist university, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volta College.
Yeah, so they played it straight. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they mentioned how they liked it until they had, like, reverse shot of a certain scene, and I went back and watched it last night, and that they only broke from the found footage thing was when they were, like, in the middle of actually filming, like, their little news clip thing, where, of course, you would imagine they would take B-roll of like the dead bear and the guys, and they would cut from there to there. And I'm thinking like that's great because it's being shot like a documentary, but then when they're actually like interviewing someone or they're on the road, they're not getting reverse shot to make it break from the found footage thing.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. There's a couple scenes of like you see like the car rolling up onto the camera or rolling, the car driving away from the camera. But, it makes sense that they would shoot some of that stuff.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be for a documentary.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, the film, it really does stick to the camera thing, especially when the camera breaks after that scene, and it stays broken until they get a new lens. I thought that was really, really cool.
So, what did you guys think of the movie?
This might be my favorite found footage film. I'm personally kind of over found footage movies. I don't think they're that interesting anymore. So I was watching this not like begrudgingly, or like let's see what this movie's about. But then there was a scene relatively early on where they follow the Trollhunter into the forest, and then they bump into him, and he goes "Troll!" He screams, and then they all start running. That scene like made me laugh out loud, and from there on, like I really really liked the movie. I think it's funny, like they play it straight, but it's just funny the fact that they made a movie about trolls and they look like the trolls from like fairy tale books.
Yeah, that was the turning point.
But everything's like super serious.
That scene was the turning point. As soon as he yelled "trolls," that was great. I also thought it was pretty funny that the hilariously fake dead bears.
Yeah, I was looking at them like those look weird, but I never seen a dead bear, so I'm not gonna say it's fake. But it did look weird.
It looked like a teddy bear.
Yeah,
that's not how bears look.
I thought the movie was good too, but I thought it dragged. It was long.
It was almost 2 hours, right?
Robot.
Did you say rowboat? Rowboats.
So
yeah, I thought the pacing was just kind of slow. I think it's part because it's like the found footage and they need to take their time. But it just dragged.
Well,
that was the only part that I didn't
because it
like.
wasn't all trolls all the time. There was like an encounter with a troll, then they'd go back and they'd talk about it instead of it just them being like trapped out in the woods with one event happening, which is typically what a found footage movie is, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, and I like that part too. It's just that it was long. It felt long.
43 minutes.
Yeah, maybe it could have been a little bit shorter, but in general, I never lost interest in the movie. Sorry, Totoro.
Oh, I was just going to say that I felt like, for about the first hour, maybe 15, hour 20 of the movie, I felt like that it was paced really well. I felt like, for whatever reason, the ending just wasn't quite up to par with
the giant troll
else.
Scene?
That leading up to it, like, everything, like, up to right around where they get stuck in the cave.
Okay.
And actually, when they get stuck in the cave, that I kept watching, watching that scene, and it was talking about people having an issue with some of the camera work. It's like that, like jumped around so much between different shots, and that bugged me a little bit because it was like very obvious that the guy was, putting the troll stench on him, and then it would go to something else, and then looking outside the cave, and then looking back at Hans, and then go back to him putting the troll stench on himself. So it was very much, it felt like it was shot out of order.
That was so obvious that guy was a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't deny it when he was first asked. He said, "Come on, this is just a government thing, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, genetic. He was that was obviously some sort of genetically engineered.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I bet that guy's gonna die, and that's what happened. He was the guy who died.
I wasn't sure if he was gonna be a Christian or die, but I knew something was gonna happen with him because before they go into the cave, while they're driving, he actually puts the camera on himself, and then they say smile, smile, and he doesn't smile at all, right? So I when I saw who the hell was that? Oh, that's the cameraman. Oh, that's the first time we actually seen the cameraman. And then later, when they're going into the cave and he's talking about the troll stench, you're like, okay, they showed him there so that we make sure we know what he looks like, because something's gonna happen with him.
Well, you see him a little before, at the very beginning, and then you see him in the first encounter of the troll, because he drops the camera and he freaks out.
Well, it's good that they showed him again, because I didn't even notice him when they showed him before.
Yeah, as far as found footage goes, this was not my favorite, but it definitely wasn't the worst.
Can we talk about how awesome the, what was it, Hans? Was that his name?
Yes.
That guy was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy was cool. Ex-Ranger, and I thought, that guy was dripping with cool, I'm ex-Ranger and I hunt trolls for the government.
And he had an awesome beard.
He also sounds cool. He's got this cool, deep voice that makes any language sound, intimidating.
And he yells trolls.
So apparently he and some other characters are well-known comedians in Norway. So even though they play it straight, the fact that a lot of these characters are comedians, sets the tone for, the audience in Norway.
Hans is a comedian?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
I would have never
it's
guessed that.
weird, right? He's so serious and nonchalant in the movie.
You know, and there's the guy at the power plant when they're looking for the big troll at the end. You know, the guy at the power plant when they're the news crew's trying to talk to him, and he's like, Did you not notice that there's a power line that just goes in a circle in this area? You don't think that's weird?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't think that's weird at all." And they're like trying to ask him like, "Well, why do you think that's not weird?" Well, it's because the country land is so beautiful with the power lines because they're beautiful. That guy is actually a comedian who makes fun of the government's weird bureaucrat stuff like that. So that guy is also a comedian.
And then at the very end of the movie, it showed like the government guy on camera giving a press conference, and he's like, "Plus, there's trolls, so we need to have those up there to keep the trolls in."
Yeah, that's actually
and
that's a real thing.
That's a real guy. Yeah, it's a real guy. I think they edited the
Well,
troll
it
thing
didn't
in,
show
but
him.
that's
Yeah,
actual
he was off
footage of
camera.
the.
You just heard him say that.
Oh no, actually he did say troll in the real conference because it's a language thing. He was actually talking about offshore oil rigs, and there's like a weird language thing where he says troll instead of trolls something else. He was talking about offshore oil rigs. But yeah.
Petroleum?
Well, yeah, was he speaking like shorthand?
Yeah, I think he was speaking some kind of... In that interview, he was speaking shorthand for offshore oil rigs, and he just said troll, and he didn't notice it, but everyone else did, so it's just really good-looking footage.
Yeah, it was a funny little end to the movie.
How did you feel about the rabies thing?
That was kind of funny. All of the trolls getting rabies.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was like realistic, right? It was like a real sickness that I know was
Yeah,
dead.
it explained everything.
Yeah.
Plus, does that mean that the one dude got bit, died then of rabies?
Well...
Not
Yeah.
necessarily.
He was infected and he had rabies.
There's a way to treat
who knows
it.
what happened afterwards.
But it's just kind of,
Isn't it only treatable if you catch it in a certain amount of time, though?
Well, no, there's a treatment, but it's long and intensive and invasive.
Yeah, it's very painful.
Mm-hmm. That's something that is your spinal fluid, and it's not cool.
Oh, ouchie.
Yeah, but there was also a hint that Hans has a social life when he meets that veterinarian.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was hinting that Hans does have a social life outside of troll hunting.
Or at the very least, he is crushing on this girl. Well, Hans is pretty funny. It's how little he cares about everything. Like when the troll was eating the goats, and he like whacks him aside and like knocks him out by biting him. Later, he just stands up, he's like, "Oh, whatever. Let me go back to the troll and keep
Yeah, he
fighting
tried
him."
to eat him, but he was in that metal suit, so he couldn't get him.
And then later, when they got the replacement camera woman, and she's like, "I'm Muslim," and like, does that matter? I don't know. We'll find out. Just bring her along. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
He doesn't care about anything.
was funny.
He's a badass.
I was thinking like, why Christian? Why is that like the big thing?
Isn't that from they smell the blood of a Christian man?
Yeah, it's from like the fairy tales or the fables.
Fee,
Yeah,
fi,
that's-
fo, fum.
Oh, I smell the Lord of an Englishman. Oh wait,
Isn't it supposed to be Christian?
That's just a giant.
Oh.
That's just a giant.
Yeah.
don't be silly. There are no giants,
No, there are.
or are they?
There are giants.
They're giant trolls.
Isn't it anyone over like 6'5" technically a giant?
That would be
I'm
like
6'1".
Conan the
Yeah.
Am I a giant?
or 6'5".
There was a lot of really cool jokes thrown in there, like the three goats on the bridge.
Well, but they weren't all goats. They're like one of them was a goat, and two of them were sheep.
Same thing. You and your terminology.
There's also apparently the guys that delivered the bear, and the guy argued with them saying that this isn't the bear we need. This is like a Russian bear or something. That guy was also like a comedian, and he was making fun of the stereotype about Polish people, I guess.
Oh, so that guy spoke English.
Yeah, that's part of the stereotype is that they usually speak either really, really bad English or really, really bad Norwegian or whatever they speak.
Norwegian.
And they always do like dirty work that like the Norwegians don't want to do themselves.
Like bears.
Which sounds kind of racist stereotype, but
Yeah.
It's a
I guess
regional stereotype.
so there's a lot of jokes in here aimed at Norwegians, apparently.
yeah.
It's almost like the movie was made.
Weird.
For them.
There is a remake, an American remake being made
Oh
apparently.
boy.
Is it going to be found footage, or is it going to be like a standard movie?
I have no idea.
I can imagine that they could do something like this for the American audience, where it's like Bigfoot Hunter or Chupacabra Hunter. But I don't know. There's something special about it being a foreign film about a foreign mythological creature that Americans don't really know about. You know.
Anyone that's been on the internet knows about trolls.
Yeah, but
It could be
not a lot of
Trollhunter,
people-
and they're trying to hunt down internet trolls. I'd watch that.
I don't know. There was that scene where they're looking at a field of rocks and they're explaining how there are like forest trolls and field trolls, and they do battle here.
Mountain trolls.
Yeah, the mountain trolls, and
Yeah.
it's like they do battle here. This is a battlefield, and it's just a stupid field with a bunch of rocks in it. But yeah, and then there's also like he sets up bait with like tires because apparently they like to chew on tires.
Or that's how he established perimeters of their territory. If he didn't find it chewed up, he knew that they weren't up to that point.
Yeah, and there's also the environmental message in this where it's like Hans describes how he had to kill like hundreds and hundreds of trolls for some stupid highway.
Yeah, baby trolls.
All right.
Tunnel.
Baby trolls,
For a tunnel
Pregnant
through the
trolls.
mountain
pregnant
or
trolls.
something.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of like I'm not an environmental person, but that made me go, yeah, man, that sucks. Mountain troll, the mountain kings. What? Let's get down to the root of all this. What did you think of the CG? Because there is CG in this movie.
Really? There's CG? You mean that
There is
that
CG.
200-foot troll wasn't real with 3 heads?
It was made by mirrors.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I mean, it all looked cartoonish because the trolls had like the facial dimensions of like the drawings from like old fable books, like the big nose and stuff like that. But like from a technical aspect, I think actually the CG looks pretty good, and it melded pretty well with like the stuff they're touching, like the trees.
I thought that when it went night vision, it was all green. It kind of hurt my eyes when it was like switching back and forth. That just could be my TV though.
You know, that was something else. It was like during that first troll encounter, it's like, why in the fuck would you like? They're like staring off into the darkness. It's like, okay, you have a night. We've established that you have a night vision camera. Why in the fuck aren't you using it right now? Are you?
Yeah, I was
stupid
thinking
or
the same
something?
thing.
Yeah, I thought something similar.
I don't know. Maybe it's a low light situation, but
It's more tension.
I don't know. I don't know. I've been out in the woods, and sometimes you can see a little bit of light because of the moon. And I think the moon was out in that scene.
You could actually see pretty well during the night scenes though, without the night vision. It was lit pretty well. Like when they're running around and there's not night vision, you could easily see them, which I don't think would be the case normally.
How did you like the explanation as to why the trolls don't like to be in the sunlight, or why UV lights hurt them so much?
Vitamin D?
Efficiency.
Yeah, that was a little bit
Yeah.
a stretch where they try and explain it like like a real biological deficiency, but that somehow makes them explode or turn into stone.
Also,
It does walk like it does walk like a tightrope between talking about like supernatural stuff like the Christian blood, but also making it kind of realistic, like classifying these animals.
Yeah, the Christian blood thing doesn't really mix with the other stuff they're going for. Like with the rabies, instead of them just being mad.
Well, I read in the Wikipedia article, and I didn't necessarily agree with this, but they might be right, that the movie's kind of vague whether or not the Christian blood actually played a role in making them get caught, because he was just freaking out.
Yeah,
he was just sweating. So, and also when the giant troll, he played the Christian music out of the speaker, and he got distracted. He got lured towards the jeep. That could have just been the sound. Didn't necessarily need to be like the Christian thing he's going towards. The movie is slightly vague whether or not the Christian stuff attracts
There was also
trolls.
that scene though with the bit of Christian blood.
Oh yeah, well that might just be
Yeah.
blood as well, like a shark.
That could be.
there was also that landmine in his Jeep.
Yeah,
Like when
Oh yeah, the guy's
you're having me drive around sitting on a landmine.
yeah, and then subtitles. Don't worry about it. It's disarmed or something. So I enjoyed this film. I thoroughly enjoyed this film.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But that's just me.
Me too. I would recommend it as a found footage movie.
I mean, to me, it's better than Blair Witch or Quarantine or that other found
Cloverfield?
footage. Well,
I think I like
I
Cloverfield.
kind of
more.
like Cloverfield.
I don't like Cloverfield, but because of just my own personal annoyances that the monster would follow the main characters around all the time.
Yeah.
When they had like a whole city to terrorize.
That's true.
But like for a reason, the main character would turn around, the monster was right there.
Could be coincidence.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be there's more than one.
Like I was like, I don't know about that. It did leave the little cockroaches around from his body.
Yeah, I actually thought in Cloverfield those things were like the best scene, like when they're in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Dakazu has been pretty quiet.
Cool movie.
I don't really have much to add, but if you guys are done, then I think we should just pretty much wrap it up.
I hear someone has a movie box pick.
Yeah, that's me. I need to ask: has anyone picked UHF?
No,
Weird
I
Al.
don't think so.
I don't think so.
Then that is my pick. Weird Al Yankovic's movie UHF.
Ooh.
It's on Netflix.
Today, we're going to make plutonium out of ordinary household
Come on down to
products.
Spatula City.
We sell spatulas.
Conan the Librarian.
Wheel of Fish.
That's right.
Don't you know the Dewey that's the most system?
I'm sure we've all seen it, but it's just been a
Twinkie
while.
Wiener
Supplies.
sandwich.
Actually, if you recall, the first podcast I was on was the Pile of Shame podcast, and UHF was one of the ones I hadn't seen, and I've seen it since then.
Well, I was originally going to pick Wet Hot American Summer, but someone's already picked that in our previous movie box.
Assholes.
How dare they?
Yeah, so that's my pick. UHF. Go watch it. It's good.
Excellent.
Does that mean I'm up next?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I will make sure to pick a good one. Something that people will like, or hate that they like.
Alrighty then. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. Thanks to Snake Dude for Life and special guest Tumble for joining us this week.
Sweet.
If you enjoy this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server where we hang out, play video games, and record the podcast. You can be on the podcast if you join our Mumble server, or you can PM us on the forums if you're interested at forums.geekbox.net. Make sure to PM me, Dakazu, or Totoro, or Mr. X. Follow us on Twitter at alltalk podcast. Email us questions at podcast@alltalkpodcast.com. Don't forget to review us on iTunes and Stitcher and all those other things that we're on. Don't forget to listen to the other podcasts, including the Geekbox, the Comic Conspiracy, the Comedy Button, and Good Job Brain. That just about wraps it up. I love you.
World War Z, the movie, will suck.